Welcome to Clash Corner, your daily dose of chaos.
I think the dead internet theory might be real. I work as a data analyst for a massive tech company, and I think the dead internet theory might actually be real. I've been a data analyst at one of the largest data infrastructure firms in the world for about 7 years now. Most of my day is just numbers, pipelines, dashboards, all the boring back-end stuff that keeps the internet functioning. It used to feel meaningful in a weirdly satisfying way. Until around 2 years ago, when I started noticing things that didn't add up. It began with a simple audit for a retail client. The data looked fine until I realized that roughly 87% of their active users weren't traceable to any known or consistent activity history. New devices, IP addresses that didn't match known regions, even fake GPS trails. It wasn't bot traffic, at least not in the traditional sense. These were fabricated identities, whole clusters of them. It was like they were generated just to exist. At first, I assumed it was some glitch with an API sync or metadata corruption. But the deeper I dug, the weirder it got. The user patterns weren't random. They were rhythmic, behavior that looked human at first glance but followed time loops so precise they could only have been synthetic. Clicking the same pages at the exact same second every single day. Pausing for identical intervals. I literally graphed it out, and it looked like music on a staff. I ran sentiment analysis on conversational data too, just to reassure myself. But the more I looked, the more everything online felt off. The comments, the social media posts, the search results, all had the same tone. This strange generic neutrality. No real emotion, no true disagreement. Just empty, polite noise. Someone in the office one day joked about the dead internet theory. About how a majority of people online now are fake. Just content generators talking to other content generators to keep engagement metrics alive. I laughed along, but later I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I tested it. I cross-checked anonymous data streams using internal tools I probably shouldn't have had access to. I wanted to see how many truly unique human communication signatures were still showing up across our indexed data. The number was ridiculously low. Like 12%. 12% of all global traffic showing the entropy patterns of a real person. The rest was echo noise. When I flagged the results as a pattern anomaly in a report, it got closed almost instantly. The next morning, my access history had been wiped clean like it never happened. Even my local backups were corrupted. I honestly believe I'm going to get fired or pushed out of this company, but so far nothing has happened yet. Ever since then, every time I scroll social media or read comment threads, I get this uneasy feeling that I'm surrounded by bots. Words designed to look alive, posted by systems that learned how to sound human, or by people who gave up caring enough to notice the difference. Sometimes I wonder if the internet really did die and we're all just screaming into the void. I've seen the data, and it makes me feel alone. Have you ever felt like you're talking to bots online? What would you do if you found out most of the internet wasn't real?
Ready for more? Here comes Clash number 2.
I hid that I spoke Spanish from my coworkers for 9 months. I work in a warehouse where almost everyone speaks Spanish. They had no idea I understood every word they said about me for 9 months. I work in a warehouse that's filled mainly with Hispanic workers. My warehouse manager, Tom, 2 other people, Jeff and Bill, and myself are the only non-Hispanic people there. Everyone mainly speaks Spanish to one another unless they have to speak to Jeff, Bill, or me. Tom is fluent in Spanish and speaks to them in Spanish usually, but speaks to us in English. When I got hired, my warehouse manager brought me around and introduced me to a few people. With my background in warehouse management, I got hired as a team lead. As a non-Hispanic person and younger than almost everyone, I stuck out a lot. I didn't mind and knew they would get to like me, especially once I told them I was married into a Hispanic family and had aunts and uncles who were Hispanic. I was also excited to speak to them in Spanish since it's my second language and I always enjoy being able to speak it. Well, during my tour of the place I got introduced to Jeff, Bill, and other people I would be managing. But before I got around to everyone there were side remarks from people saying in Spanish after walking away about how it's stupid that some young white guy is going to help manage a large group of Hispanics. Jeff and Bill, who were on the tour with Tom and me, Explained how they would be bullied at times for not speaking Spanish and the others would constantly talk to them first in Spanish and then say sorry and switch to English. Tom hired me specifically because of my past work with him and because he knew I understood Spanish, but also understands the majority of the people who work there are fluent in Spanish as their first language and would not respect someone who doesn't understand it, which is why they bullied Jeff and Bill at times. I understood the situation and didn't mind. It would make me mad too if someone got hired to run a team that mainly spoke Spanish and he didn't speak any Spanish. However, they didn't even give me a chance to let them know I could before judging me. After the tour, Tom and I sat down in his office to go over the job and we spoke about me speaking Spanish and them automatically thinking I don't know it. He said that it's a typical warehouse where they will haze the new guy to make sure he's a good fit, but they are all decent dudes who work hard. So we jokingly agreed we would joke with them back by not telling them I can speak Spanish but only knew certain words to get by in the warehouse. Well, cut to about 9 months on the job. I've been doing a good job by this time leading my team. They respect and follow my lead for the most part. However, they speak their minds in Spanish about me to my face. At first I found it very disrespectful, but after a while I used it as a tool to help me manage them. Well, one day while a group of us were in the break room, someone was telling a joke in Spanish. I was busy eating my lunch by myself as usual, not really paying attention to what was being said. The person who was telling the joke is the usual class clown, but at times his humor can be a little immature for the other guys, but I found most of it funny. Well, during this particular joke no one got the punchline but I did, and not only did I get it but I laughed really hard and no one else was laughing but the guy who told the joke. The entire room looked at me puzzled. I had nothing in front of me. No book, no phone, nothing. There was nothing I would be laughing at other than what he said. A few of them then started to crowd me and one started to talk to me in Spanish asking me if I understood them. I pretended to be clueless till they got closer and closer till they had cornered me. He again, very close and tough-like, asked me again if I understood them and if I lied and they found out later that I lied they would be upset. I'm much smaller than him and the person who was confronting me was an ex-con. Not that all ex-cons are dangerous and bad people, as a lot of the people working there were ex-cons, but I knew him enough to understand he was serious. So I spoke to him back in Spanish. The room got crazy and a lot of them started to realize that they have been talking behind their superiors' back for the past 9 months. After a long talk with them they calmed down and actually thought it was hilarious and I now have a lot more respect from them and I now talk to them all in Spanish. Would you have come clean sooner, or kept the secret going?
The chaos doesn't stop. Clash number 3.
My husband disappears for 3 hours every day during the hardest parenting moments. My husband spends an hour in the bathroom 3 times a day, every single day, and it's always during our toddlers' wake up, meals, and bedtime. I don't know how to talk about this without sounding like I'm controlling when he can use the bathroom. My husband and I have been married for 7 years and together for 11. We have a 3.5-year-old. We're having marriage issues for more reasons than I have time to write down. In short, I feel he lacks a sense of responsibility and being proactive in our relationship. I've been harboring so much resentment, especially after our first baby. I'm in therapy to work through it myself. He has a bathroom habit where he uses the bathroom every morning during our toddler's wake up, breakfast, and drop-off time. Every afternoon after lunch, and every evening during bath and bedtime, which keeps him away from the hardest and most demanding times of every day. Each bathroom session is an hour long, which includes a thorough shower after each time. He feels the need to clean up completely. So maybe 30 minutes for each activity, or 40 minutes for one and 20 for the other. I also know he can change his timing apparently on command, because when we need to be out and about he somehow finds a way to do it earlier or later or not go at all, though I don't know how much that affects him. We both work full-time. I am 99% the one who wakes with the baby and gets him ready for preschool. He may drive our son to school after I've readied him, and I'm the one to get our child bathed and ready for bed most of the time, unless I wait for my husband and our son goes to sleep usually later than what I'd prefer. He knows I've been delaying family planning because of his uncertainties around work, looking to change jobs, for the last 2 years. Now that he's finally stabilized in his new role and when I bring up the topic of another baby, he always says it depends on me. My son asks for a baby sister because all his friends have baby sisters. His response is it depends on mommy. But it doesn't. The issues, lack of awareness and being proactive and needing me to tell him to do everything or else he just doesn't feel he needs to be involved or present, I have with him from our first baby are still unresolved. And I don't see how I can manage 2 kids while he's gone for the most busy times of each day. Yes, I also think about if I should even think about having another baby with him. I want to have 2 kids because we have limited family in the US, and I want to make sure my son has someone who is family when he gets older. Let's assume I want to keep this relationship. I asked him to go to the doctor and talk about his frequent bathroom needs and he said he did before and it's normal. I feel like he prioritizes himself and his needs before our families because he seems to be able to adjust when he goes, but as a default he seemingly chooses the busiest times of the day to do it. When I ask him point blank how we're supposed to have a newborn when he's gone for 3 hours every day at the most critical times, he said his parents can take care of the baby. His parents live 2 hours drive away. It's not a come over and help once in a while situation. This is a multi-year, if not lifelong, daily need I require from him and his first response is someone else can do it. It makes me so sad and disappointed that this is his first and only solution. I honestly don't know what he can propose. But I wanted him to see that this unavailability is a concern of mine and put in some thought. I can't stop him from using the bathroom. It's not like we have room or I have the will to house his mom for 3 years to make up for my husband's need to use the bathroom. It's not like she wants to live with us for 3 years either. And this is just one specific concern. There are plenty of other concerns. I don't know how to talk about this concern without feeling dismissed, but also not making him feel like I won't let him use the bathroom. He does have hemorrhoids, so bathroom time is not as simple. He refuses to talk more about it. I know he's in pain, and I know he's definitely having a bowel movement. But maybe it doesn't need to be those specific times and lengths. The phone is definitely not helping. I've been waiting 2 years to have this talk for real. And his response was just so hurtful and disappointing. It's not even about his bathroom habits anymore. I've paused the thought of a second baby for now. How would you even bring this up without it turning into a fight?
Another clash is on the way. Here's number 4.
School wants me to make my twin sons easy to distinguish after medication mix-ups. The school just emailed me saying my twin sons look too similar and I need to make them easier to tell apart. I'm not doing it. I have twin sons aged 11 who are not identical but do look similar. Their older sister looks pretty similar to them too. James is taller and slightly more slender in the face. Ben is more freckly and is noticeably paler. They have the same eye and hair color, but James has longer hair and his is more wavy than Ben's. James tends to be very neat and tidy while Ben is somehow always covered in ink or paint. In school, they're in uniform so they're dressed identically. Classes are split by ability, but their scores are close enough to each other that they're in the same groups for everything, though they have different friendship groups and different hobbies. Both go to chess club, though that's the only club or sport they have in common, and most of the time they don't interact much in school. Each does their own thing. They have, however, when asked, told me they do sometimes get called the wrong name still, even though they've been there since September. Both boys have permission to take medication in school due to seasonal allergies and eczema. Antihistamines and eczema cream is stored in school for the boys to access as and when needed. They use different medication and creams, which is personal preference. One has liquid and one has tablets, and they use different creams as they find different ones helpful. I sent in the permission slips and meds and left it at that. I got an email over the holiday regarding the medication. It states the instances of the boys being mixed up are not reducing as they look so similar, and the medical officer is concerned the wrong child will be given the wrong medication. As such, she has asked me to ensure the boys are easy to distinguish going forward. My initial reaction is absolutely not. It is up to the person administering the medication to ensure they are giving it to the right person, and that can easily be done by asking the child what his name is. They are 11 years old. They are more than capable of giving the right name and have no interest at all in swapping places for the sake of getting each other's meds. I do understand the concern in terms of making sure the right medication is given to the right child, but the responsibility for that lies solely with the school while they are in the care of the school. And I will not be sending them back after the holiday looking in any way easy to distinguish. Would I be wrong if I told the school it was their responsibility to make sure they have the right child, not mine? Would you push back on this, or would you make changes to help the school out?
Chaos overload. Let's wrap up this final clash.
My boyfriend won't stop talking about World Cup tickets. I'm posting this anonymously because my boyfriend is on Reddit and he knows my account. I'm a 26-year-old guy posting this anonymously because my boyfriend is on Reddit and he knows my account. My boyfriend of almost 3 years is a huge sports fan, and soccer is his favorite sport. One of the host cities for this year's World Cup is right here in our province, and my boyfriend is absolutely ecstatic. He's never been to the World Cup before, and now that it's coming here, his excitement is off the charts. The problem is, the excitement has turned into him making the World Cup and tickets for it his entire personality. And I'm sick of it. I'm not saying he's not allowed to be excited. No one is saying that. I would never stop him from enjoying something he's excited about. But ever since the tickets first started going on sale in October, he is incapable of talking about anything else. What tickets he has, what games he wants to go to, how much tickets cost, what seats he would be assigned, whether or not there would be more lotteries or tickets released, whether or not tickets are being held back to create more demand, how good or bad the seating assignments are. On and on, the examples I just gave barely scratch the surface. But no matter what anyone says, he can't stop talking about it. I thought I was going crazy since we lived together. I tried telling myself I just hear it more because we spend so much time together. But other people, his family, friends, and even people he works with are tired of it too. Since the tickets first went on sale, it's gotten worse and worse, and it's like he's incapable of talking about anything else. Besides the fact that he won't stop bringing it up on his own, he also brings it up when other people are having conversations about completely different topics. For example, his sister is getting married. His brother's wife is a graphic designer. The two of them were having a conversation about the wedding invitations in his sister's kitchen. My boyfriend had to go in and interrupt to talk about the World Cup and the tickets when he wasn't even involved in the conversation in the first place. This is just one of many examples. I could write a novel about this. He does it all the time. I have tried asking him, telling him, begging him to stop. I'm not the only one. I had to get this out somewhere because I am at my wit's end. I feel like screaming. If anyone asks him to stop or tone it down, he apologizes in the moment, but it's like it goes in one ear and out the other because he just keeps doing it. People are refusing to be around him and have angrily told him off. He just doesn't listen. He has told me I just don't understand because I don't watch soccer. No one is saying he can't be excited. Just that he needs to stop making it his entire personality. I am at my wit's end. I just want to be able to relax at home or talk about something not related to World Cup tickets. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's never acted obsessed about anything like this before. He doesn't have any kind of condition that makes this normal or expected. But I want to scream because I'm sick of this. He won't listen to me or anyone else. I don't know what to do because he won't listen. I am completely at my wit's end here. What would you do if someone you loved wouldn't stop talking about the same thing over and over?
That was today's chaos. See you at the next clash. Don't just watch the clash, join the corner. Subscribe now.